Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Dave, Season 2, Episode 7, Ad Man is the episode of Dave that I'm going to be spoiling in this episode. So if you don't want to be spoiled, move on along to a different episode. But let's get it started, shall we? This one we find ourselves with Dave, Mike, Gata, and Emma. They are at the XXL Freshman Class of 2021. There's, I think, only 3 rappers. At least they're going through. They're interviewing 3 different rappers. Dave being one of them. You got your kind of, standard from the streets. Got to get out. This is why I became a rapper. And then Dave gets to his interview, and it's like, I grew up in a nice suburb, pretty close to a city, though, so there's my cred. And then I went to a college, and after college, because it's a college that's well known for putting people in the marketing industry, I got a marketing job, and that's kind of where I started. And very, very different, and just another aspect of this show that illustrates how different Dave is from the typical rapper. At least that's what, at least, for the majority of rappers, it seems. It just shows how he doesn't necessarily fit in, how he's cut from a different cloth. And you have all the other ones there with him at this shoot with a bunch of people there to do a bunch of interviews and just to give shine to these new rappers, these new up-and-coming rappers. Cut to back. We are going back in time. Back in time to where Dave and Emma used to work together. They used to be co-workers at this marketing agency that Dave had just been talking about during his interview. He's talking to Emma. They're talking about one of their other co-workers comes by to show them chat roulette. And there's an Asian guy on the screen, and Emma, trying to fit in with the other white guys, makes an Asian joke about how it's her dad, which, they kind of found to be funny. Dave opens up and tells Emma what his rap name would be, basically giving the origins for Dave's first rap name, which was not Little Dicky. It was Norm Bender. Horrible rap name. The reasoning for it is because he bends the norms, which is a very creative, name, but not a name that would inspire thoughts of hip-hop. It is not a name that would make you think it is. It feels more like a nerdy porn star name than it does a rapper name, to be honest. But Norm Bender was his first rap name. They are working on a project for TD Ameritrade, I think was the company. So a financial institution. Dave has an idea about getting a billboard and taping a guy onto the billboard, and how just that the act of doing that would bring a lot of media and attention to the brand. Which it would, but, Emma reminds him that it's just a financial company. They're not necessarily, that marketing idea doesn't necessarily fit with the overall brand recognition of that financial institution. So kind of shot down. But they're brainstorming, they're working things out. Later on in the day, they're both shooting hoops, playing the little basketball arcades that you see, where it's a little hoop, and it's 5 feet away, and you're not 5 feet, like 3 feet away, and you shoot baskets into it. Fun arcade game. That's where Emma and Dave are continuing to brainstorm ideas. Dave finds out that Kanye West has a new album out, which he is super stoked about, and Dave talks about how he relates himself to Kanye. Dave talks about how he's always felt like how he relates to Jim Carrey in the movie Truman Show, how he feels like he is there to entertain all the people around him, that everybody around him is just actors, and he's waiting for the day when his boat hits the sidewall of the fake studio that he's existed in. Very much I would imagine, a typical kind of a delusion or thought process that somebody who's a narcissist would have. Despite my narcissistic tendencies, I don't know if I've ever, maybe there has been times where I've been really high and probably also really manic, where I felt like maybe it is all about me. But another interesting comparison of Dave's, that he is destined for greatness, which is a similar theme that we've seen. He's definitely somebody that thinks he's the greatest rapper. He has literally compared himself to Kanye West in the past, just a white Kanye West. But he is definitely putting the cart before the horse, as it were, because time after time we see how just not quite prepared, or not quite ready, or not quite great he is when given chances to rise to the occasion. Many times he stumbles. But anyway, so they're having that conversation. Cut back to or later on in the evening, they're still at the marketing place. They're still brainstorming ideas of things to do with this company. They have a late night at work. And Dave stays, Emma leaves, Dave stays to keep working, and he pops on his headphones and listens to one of the songs from Kanye's new album, and is kind of, feeling it, dancing around the workspace, just letting the music sink in. Cut back to current times. Dave sitting down. They're at the shoot for this, the XXL Freshman thing, and he is clearly nervous, jittering his leg, tapping his leg. He's very nervous about the cipher that he's got to do. He's doesn't know what the beat is going to be, so he has no way to prepare. Gata's trying to be encouraging, as always. Gata is always the positive influence on Dave, always talking Dave up when Dave is always nervous or feels out of place. Similar to the last episode when he was asked to be part of a rap video and Dave wanted to turn it into a comedy, and just nothing clashes more than Dave in the traditional hip hop universe, and yet Gata is there to encourage him. Lil Yachty is one of the rappers that's also being featured. He comes up and asks Dave if Dave is doing anything funny for his cipher, because Dave is known for being funny. That's kind of his brand in a lot of ways, to be comical. But he's pretty much he's nervous. Has no idea what he's going to do. Another one of the rappers who I don't even know is there, and Dave goes up to talk to him because apparently Dave went to school with this guy, and this guy, tells him that he actually dropped out, and Dave knows that he dropped out because he was a fan of his when he was playing basketball, and when he left, it really was a big loss to the team. Just kind of, and also Dave, a little self-conscious. His music comes up on the speakers. He's not a big fan of it. His My Dick Suck. He's trying to move past it, which I definitely know that feeling of like old work, looking back on old work and just not necessarily not being proud of it, but knowing that you can do much better now, or that you've changed and grown. It doesn't really reflect the person you are. Whereas this other dude that Dave knew had no problem putting on his music. Clearly somebody with confidence in what they're doing, just to contrast the complete insecurity that Dave has. Cut over to Emma and Gata are over at Craft Services, and somebody approaches Emma asking if she is dating Dave, which she quickly says no. She's just there to help Dave. She shoots, she's there to just shoot content for him. She tells him that she did the graphics for him. And this other guy is like trying to ask her to do to direct his music video, and you could tell Emma just doesn't have the confidence, right? Similar, not necessarily similar to Dave. Like she's just scared to put her foot forward. And Gata is there, and Gata's like stoked at the opportunity to network. He's like got a long list of like, it's like, I need an agent, I need this, I need that, I'm trying to look for these people. And he says like his advice to Emma isn't like, Emma's afraid that she's going to look thirsty, right? She wants to be approached. I definitely relate to Emma in this episode quite a bit, because like her fear of, not necessarily fear, but her like being timid, her timidness in trying to assert herself and trying to network, as it were. She doesn't want to appear thirsty. And Gata tells her that it's like, I'm not thirsty. I'm hungry. I'm looking to get fed. Like, his mentality on what networking is, what he's trying to do, is his perspective on that comes from a much healthier perspective than, because nobody wants to be like, there's kind of like two people in a lot of way. There's like the kiss asses, the people that are all about networking that never really care about the craft of what they do. And then there's, on the opposite end of that spectrum, there's the people that focus primarily on the craft and are not about trying to show off their work. They're not the self-promoters. They're more in that kind of essence. They're more of introverts than they are extroverts when it comes to getting their stuff out there. So I relate to Emma on a lot of that, and some of that shows up while she's at the craft service table with Gata. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Now you can wear the many faces. Original art by Ray Taylor. Select pieces from the ongoing series of abstract ink paintings. All products made with high quality materials, made right here in the USA. Go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch to browse the entire collection and save yourself an extra 10% when you check out by using coupon code RTSTMF. So once again, go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch and save 10% when you use coupon code RTSTMF. And now back to our show. And it's like out of nowhere, this little kid shows up, this little like random child shows up, and Gata goes down and gets down on a knee, gets to his level to talk to him. And it's just another scene that illustrates what a great guy Gata is. He like instantly can relate to this kid, and the mom comes and picks him up, and the kid like waves goodbye to Gata. But it's a scene that just shows that Gata is like, just always positive, always looking to connect with people, no matter who they are. So now cut back to the past. Emma and Dave are now in a meeting with their boss at the marketing place, just going over what ideas they have for this TD Ameritrade. He's saying that he's got some TV spots that he's going to want them to work on, which they're stoked about. Getting to work on something that's going to be fun and interesting, definitely more in line with what Emma wants to do, being a director. The little shade is thrown back and forth between Dave and this guy about football, and Emma tries to participate in the football talk by talking about her fantasy. Like, clearly she's into football as well, but because she's a woman, not really, kind of shut out, and then mansplained about something that I don't even know, some yak yard thing, which I don't care about. Sports, I tried to get into football for like a few seasons when I lived in San Diego, and then realized it was worthless to cheer for a team that just I have zero control over. It's like, why should I feel like shit cheering for a team that like whether they win or lose is so far out of my. And then you also see a lot of fake fans around, and it's just a whole situation that I was, and football is kind of boring anyway. It's mostly a lot of standing around, not a lot of action in football. A lot of commercial breaks. But she's trying to get in on the football talk, but instantly shut down. But they're given this opportunity to work on a new campaign for Mountain Dew, which they're both stoked about. Just a new project, something that's more interesting and exciting than TD Ameritrade. So they go, and they're going to go do some recon on the other teams that are going to be pitching ideas for Mountain Dew, trying to see what other people are doing so that they can come up with an idea. And this is where Emma talks about her dream to become a director. She wants to direct movies, which Dave didn't know anything about. But she's, kind of shooting down her own dreams, like stating reasons why it can't happen for her to be a movie director. Whereas Dave is on the other side of that spectrum, just blind faith in his ability to become the next Kanye, as it were. But Dave not wanting to copy off of other people, not wanting to kind of fall into the same cookie cutter ideas that everybody else does. He wants to unleash his inner Kanye, asks for creative freedom from Emma, or at least to allow him to, kind of go crazy with it. And you also hear the fact that they have nicknames for each other. They call each other Slug, which is similar to Benny Blanco and Dave's relationship, where they call each other Chuck. So it's kind of sweet. Just the fact that they call each other Slug indicates that they were close friends at this time. It seems like, maybe not the same type of friendship that Dave has with Benny Blanco, but still a friendship where they have a nickname for each other, which, makes sense that she's in the show, but, never knew before this she was just his girlfriend's roommate that does design work and did some design work for him. So this episode is really showing that there was more of a friendship between the two of them than it showed. And, calling each other Slug is, definitely a signifier of that. And then Dave tells her that when he gets popular, when he becomes this rapper that he's dreaming of, that he'll want her to direct the music video for him, which is a sweet thing. Which is a sweet thing that clearly hasn't been brought up in the time where Dave is actually a rapper, because there's been no mention of her directing videos for him, and despite the fact that she's doing other things for him. Cut back to now it's after apparently this whole shoot thing, this freshman class of 2021 thing is a multiple day thing. So now it's nighttime. They're back at the house. They're still dealing with ants. Emma and Gata are over there. They're all eating. Mike is on the phone trying to get the beat for this cipher that's happening the next day so that Dave can prepare. But because it's a competition, they don't want to give out. It's not how they run the thing. So they're not able to do it. Dave's gets on the phone trying to get them to share the beat with him. And he's pissed. It's just not working. And Emma's like, well, you can do it, man. It's like, you were born to do this. Remember? That's what you said. You're born to do this. So it's like, let's do this. And it's like similar to Gata. It's like Dave has this like unending belief in himself, but when faced with any kind of difficulty, it seems like he's like on the verge of just crumbling. He doesn't rise to the occasion, which makes sense. I mean, having the romantic dream of success is far different from the reality of success, from the reality of the day-to-day grind and work that has to be put in to become successful. And in a lot of ways, this is just Dave, trying to learn those lessons in a lot of ways. Cut back to, now we're back in the past, the presentation. They're kind of fleshing out the presentation. Dave's kind of nervous because it'll be his first time. They decided on the presentation that he's going to rap. Emma's going to do, like, she helps him plan out how he's going to do this little performance for this pitch. She's going to do the graphics for it. And Dave's nervous because it's his first time rapping for anybody. Like, the show starts with him he had never rapped for his girlfriend. He had never, like, the Macklemore episode would have been his first live performance. So it's like, he is so new. Like, it must be that this show takes place just after, not long after Dave, like, he left this marketing place, did the My Dick Suck thing, it blew up, and then he quit. I would imagine maybe season 3 will get a little bit more of that, how, like, the connective tissue between the ad man into Lil Dicky. But he's nervous, and while they're getting ready to do this presentation, their boss comes by and tells them that this other team submitted a pitch that they're going to go with. Despite the fact that they're on vacation, they submitted this pitch from wherever they are on vacation, so they get passed over, which, they're not happy about. Then another coworker comes by, and because Emma made the joke about the dad on her, seeing this older Asian dude on chat roulette. This other guy comes by and he says, "I think I saw your dad over in the conference room." And then she's confused and he's like, "Oh, Sony's here." Kind of just showing that, like, what she has to deal with being Asian, her trying to fit in by being racist herself, make racist joke, and then, trying to fit in with the football talk. And then now it's like, it seems like this guy has been given the green light by her to be racist, to make these racist jokes, and she did it also, but she's clearly not happy about it, so she's just frustrated. And she gets a fire lit under her ass, and she goes to Dave, and she tells Dave that we should just crash this pitch. It's like, we have it all prepared. What is there to lose, right? Like, kind of in that moment showing that she has that fire and ambition that Dave has on some level, that it's like trying to come through, trying to break through. Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. Cut back to now they're at the shoot. Dead-faced. Everybody in Dave's crew just dead-faced. Dave just complete and utter stressed out. Emma just, like, not caring about the whole thing. Like, she just feels like, almost, I would imagine from her standpoint, feeling as though she's like, what is she doing with her life? Like, what is she doing helping Dave when Dave doesn't seem to be thankful for the help that everybody's giving him, but also like what is she doing with her own life? Like what is she like why did she leave this ad agency, which I assume she did, and now she's just freelancing? Why? Why is she doing that? But then she gets that kind of, motivation again. She goes over to try and help Dave out. She goes over, flirts with the DJ so she can see what the beat is that he's going to be using for the cipher. And she texts it to Dave. She goes over and she tells Dave. So Dave goes to backstage or whatever, goes into some back area to listen to this and thing. And he doesn't, he's not very thankful. It's just like very robotic, thank you. And then like, I don't even know. I don't think he said thank you. But he goes back to go practice now that he knows what the beat is. And Emma not feeling like she tried to do this nice thing. One of many nice things she's done for Dave. She gets no thanks, this thankless help that she's giving Dave. And she realizes that she needs to start doing her own thing. She needs to start getting hungry. So she leans over to Gata and tells Gata that she wants to direct his music video. And Gata's like, man, I don't have any money or anything. She's like, I don't care. I just want to do cool shit. And Gata's stoked. Gata has the thankfulness for what Emma does exponentially more so than what Dave does. Like Dave almost like assumes people should be helping him out, where Gata is just so thankful that anybody would do anything to help him out. Completely night and day versions of thankfulness when it comes to, help and people reaching out to help. Cut back to Dave in the backstage, listening to the beat on his phone, kind of going over, flowing, trying to figure out what he's going to say, kind of coming up with some ideas, and he's like super pumped. He is stoked. He's like, yes, I got this prep. I'm able to prepare. As he's just super stoked, walking out to go to where they're going to shoot this cipher. And Emma stops him on the way, trying to give him a heads up. He's like, listen, they're using spotlights. You're wearing dark clothes. You need to make sure you keep yourself within that spotlight so you don't disappear into the shadows. And Dave is just not at all paying attention to her, not at all listening to her advice, so focused, so in his own head, just ungrateful for what Emma, he should be so thankful not only when she gave him the text of what beat they're going to use, but also after I can understand it's in the moment, okay, I got to go work on this thing. That is priority number one. But after you get it and you're stoked and you're pumped like Dave was, and he comes out, the next time he sees Emma, he should be so thankful. He should be kissing her feet that he is so thankful that she helped him figure this thing out. And not only is he not thanking her, he's not even considering her advice about the whole lighting issue, because she's trying to do everything to make Dave look good in this situation instead of doing things for herself to make herself progress in the future she wants. And Dave just completely not even considering the thought of listening to her. So he goes up, and the first guy, the dude that Dave knew from school, is starting off the whole thing. And immediately after the beat starts, he asks to have a different beat, which means that the beat is now going to be different for everybody, because they're all going to be rapping over the same beat. And now from the get-go, the beat has changed. The tempo's changed. So Dave is kind of screwed. kind of screwed. So this other dude does his rap. Dave's up next, and he's like trying his best. And he's just falling apart. He can't do it. Like the tempo's way higher. He tried to do it in the cadence that he had practiced backstage, not working. He tried to amp it up and go really fast. That's not working. It's just falling apart for him. Cut back to, now they're back at the ad agency, and they're about to do their pitch. They come in. They're like, I got this thing for you. And without a hitch, they come in, they wreck shop. They get the thing. Dave, supremely confident. Dave rising to the occasion to knock this Mountain Dew pitch out of the park. You got Emma did some amazing graphics. Her idea for Dave to go in between all the tables to perform kind of almost in the round, as it were, in that little meeting space, worked out perfectly. Dave's little rap was great, and his ideas for tying in social media and just kind of making it a hip, cool thing for Mountain Dew to do was great. And at the end of it, it's like, and oh, by the way, Emma helped with the graphics. Like, very much sidelined in the whole presentation aspect of it. You see her kind of just sink into herself because it's like it's all about Dave. One of the execs for Mountain Dew asks what Dave's name is, and he tries his Norm Bender name, which just sounds horrible. It's a horrible name. So he stays with Dave. And then cut back to the cipher. Dave is just failing miserably, and you see Emma's face, and you can see that she's kind of happy. She's kind of happy to see Dave fall apart because she knows how Dave has sidelined her and not really been appreciative and valued her input from the beginning, from back when they worked together at this ad agency. And now she's seeing Dave, who had risen to the occasion during that pitch, is now completely falling flat on his face. And the end of this episode is like cutting back and forth between Dave during the shoot and how he's just falling apart, and him walking out of the job. I don't know if he quit necessarily, but he's just leaving work like super stoked, on top of the world. And you see that contrast of the two different Daves, one of which rose to the occasion, knocked it out of the park, and then you see the current Dave just failing miserably, just not able to make things work. And just the complete contrast in the two different aspects of where he was when he's at this job and he's like, yes, I can be the greatest ever. I can do this. I can leave this place. I can become a rapper. And now the reality of not being able to rise to the occasion when it mattered far more than knocking some advertising pitch out of the park. And that is the end of the episode. Kind of a great episode, showing more of just how narcissistic Dave is, but also showing the relationship between Emma and Dave, showing that Emma has her own dreams and aspirations and how she kind of hasn't necessarily been following those. She's been putting those on the back burner to help other people, and now it seems there's a bit of a turn with her wanting to work with Gaeta, and also showing how Gaeta's positivity is attracting people to want to work with him, whereas Dave's negativity is showing people's desire to not work with him, to be pushed away. So yeah, that was episode 7, Ad Man. Also interesting to see a little bit more of Dave, and that he came from, advertising, and how he could easily put the cart in front of the horse when it comes to his career, marketing his abilities before he has the abilities, before he's really fleshed out all the tools in his toolbox, as it were. But yeah, Dave, Season 2, Episode 7, Ad Man. Next week is Episode 8, The Birds, which is the last name, so maybe we're going to be hanging out with Dave and his family in the next episode. There are only 3 episodes left in Season 2. Season 3, I looked up and should be coming out later on in the year, possibly early next year. I think I actually saw 2023. I think they're filming later on this year, and it's going to be coming out early next year. At least that's a little bit of Dave news that I've seen, I've heard. But yeah, that's it. Dave, Season 2, Episode 7, Ad Man.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can